Hello, my beautiful friends.
Hello, friends. Hello, friend. Are you slurping already?
I am. You know what? I'm in need of the tea. I'm in need of the tea. Oh wow, this is gonna be a heavy, heavy episode.
But we gonna keep it as light as we can,
Well, we're
so
gonna
we can
try.
get you get you all the information that you need.
Yes.
Hi,
And so, how are you, Miss Angel?
I'm doing well today.
How's your good?
I
How's
am.
your day? How are those
Oh,
students?
they were out of control today.
Mm,
I don't know if it's itching to get to Friday or not, but today was a bit of a challenge.
mm-hmm.
So I'm grateful for this tea, and I'm
Mm,
drinking it tonight in my uh, themed mug
love it.
from
I
the
love
American
it.
Foundation for Suicide Prevention, in theme with our show. I
What
have
is your tea today?
Tazo.
Ooh,
Hold, please. There you go.
there it is.
Tazo Passion Tea, which is my
Ooh,
favorite Tazo tea. But I chose Passion Tea tonight because I'm very passionate about this topic.
okay.
So there's that. But
All right.
what are you drinking?
All right. Well, I already had to. There's the mug. Shameless merchandise plug.
Still waiting. Still waiting on my mug.
I'll get you one. I order it for you. I have it sent to your house.
Still waiting.
So I remember I told you that I
Mm,
needed a new tea.
that's
Like
hot.
I needed to find a new tea. So I went to the
Yes.
store today and I couldn't decide. So I bought three different kinds.
How about
Um,
two?
it's hard because I'm like, what do I need? So then I, of
Mhm.
course, asked Vic, my loving husband, I said, you know what? Pick the tea I'm going to drink tonight. And this is the one that he chose.
Ooh, perfect, Vic.
It's
Vic.
by
Shout out
Yogi,
to Vic.
Relaxed
Relaxed
Mind.
mind.
It supports tranquility.
Ooh, I don't have that one. I'll be looking for that one.
And what I love about them is that they have these cute little sayings on the
Yes, on
thing.
the
And this
tea
one
bag.
says, the universe is within you, bright and beautiful.
Mm.
So, that's also a nice
No,
little pick
I
me up.
didn't have a cute little saying, but I had a cute little spoon. That
See,
fits
there you
in
go.
the handle.
That's just as good. That's just as good. Mm.
Excellent.
So we are going to be talking about, well, this month. The theme this month is suicide prevention, suicide awareness month.
Mhm.
And so that's going to be our topic of discussion. So uh, not to be, we definitely don't want to trigger any emotions, but we can't promise that won't happen. But
Yeah.
I do have a couple of disclaimers.
Mhm.
I do. Number one disclaimer, and this is a personal disclaimer. I, as many of you may or may not know, I'm a very emotional person. And so I may or may not get emotional during this episode, and I'm not apologizing for it. I'm just letting y'all know.
Mhm.
So I am. And then disclaimer number two, and this might sound harsh, but if you're tuned into this episode and this is something I'm just throwing out there, if this topic you find to be, some people out there think that suicide is a selfish act. My advice to you would be to, okay, either tune out, which I don't recommend, or stay tuned in and listen with an open heart, open mind, open ears. Because not only are Angel and I gonna just kind of break, I mean, this is Angel's area of expertise. Okay, she's like
Thank you, Kristen.
1,500 certifications on the subject matter.
Not
So
1,500.
all right, 1,499, my bad. um so between Angel's area of expertise, she's going to give you statistics, I'm going to throw out the signs and symptoms and all of that, but on top of that, we're also going to be sharing some personal stories because this is a very personal
Mm-hmm.
topic for both of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've both been touched by someone or some people in our lives who have chosen to end their lives or have attempted, or so on and so forth. And then we will have a special guest on later this evening, Anna Gomez. We thank her so much for joining us tonight. Who she'll be talking about her journey, her life, her experience with this. So definitely everybody listen with open hearts, open minds, open ears, and just take it in. And yeah, I mean, that's all I got. Those are my two disclaimers.
Those are great disclaimers.
Okay, great.
I would add to that, if you need to step away, take care of yourself, get something to drink, bathroom, wash your face, cry. If you need to
Yes.
step away, do that. Do that. We're
Yes.
going to practice some self care tonight.
Yeah.
Do some
Tea is
self
a
care
good start.
after the show. Tea is a great start.
Tea is a great start.
Do a little self care after the show as well.
Mm-hmm.
Try not to turn the news on when this is over. We don't want to add to those
Right.
triggers.
We definitely don't.
Watch something funny. Spend some time with your family. Eat something really good. But take care of yourself while you're here. You can always rewatch this if something comes up and you can't focus. It's okay to step away and
Yeah.
come back to it when you're more able to do that. So that would be my
Absolutely.
only addition. My only additional disclaimer.
Mm-hmm. It's a great disclaimer, and absolutely. And my husband
Saying
sings.
what? Jungle Bell. What is Jungle Bell?
So my little one, so Jasmine is started in band and she's playing percussion. So for one of her assignments, she had to send a recording of her playing Jingle Bells.
Okay.
And so when we were in the car ride home, I don't know, for whatever reason, my brain and my mouth weren't working together. And instead of saying Jingle Bells, I said Jango Bells.
Oh, okay. So this is the remix.
So
Okay.
yes, it's the remix.
Oh, okay, cool. As long as I know.
So anyway.
And thank you for joining us, Vic.
Yes. Vic is another one who has definitely been touched by this as well. So he definitely can share some stuff as well, which we encourage. And we encourage everybody, if you have questions, concerns, anything, please send it, post it, or send us a private message. If you don't want to say anything publicly, totally understand that. So where should we start?
Current events. That's where we're starting with current events.
Hurricane Ian?
No, current events on the topic. Although, not to say that that's not important.
I think Hurricane Ian maybe has some issues.
That's not important. Yeah. So our current events regarding this topic, there is a new crisis hotline.
Yes.
It has been in the works for a few years now, and it finally went through a couple months ago. You used to have to dial 1-800-273-TALK if you were trying to get into touch with someone about a suicide crisis or a mental illness crisis. Now they got 3 numbers: 988.
Easy.
988. And I think it's so much easier for people to remember. And I'm sure they have gotten an influx and uptick in calls and traffic since they changed the number. But even for the crisis line for the email, it's 988lifeline.org instead of the whole
number.
Right. So that is that's what's current events for us.
Yep. And then there's also a crisis text line, if I'm not mistaken, that you text hello to 741-741.
That's right. You can text anything. Hello, help, hi, whatever. And it's 24/7, and someone will respond to you. Now, here's my disclaimer.
Oh,
about both the hotline and the chat, the text. They need more staff. These are volunteers. These are not
yeah.
paid. These are not paid workers. These are volunteers, and I know volunteers who man these lines. A young lady that I worked with, modeled with, worked with the suicide prevention charity, worked with the production, the play that we did. I'm rocking that shirt today. Speak up,
Mm-hmm.
speak out, speak live. This the Reach Project. I can talk more about that later, but she works as a volunteer at the text line. My friends, the sisters in Ohio, who work with the same organizations, they work with American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and they have volunteered with the crisis line, the hotline. So phone, text. I know people that do this, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot, and they're doing it for free.
Yeah.
So if this is your area of expertise, or you are, have worked as a first responder or have some of that background, or if you're just interested and passionate about the cause, they are always looking for more people
Mm-hmm.
to help man those lines. And now with the new number and it being more easily accessible because they can remember three numbers, they need more people.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. I got to think that they need more people because things in the last couple of years have just kind of,
Absolutely. They already needed more people. So
they already needed more people. So now it's like even more
know.
so because
Yeah,
even some of those
absolutely.
people that were doing it might be in that needing it on the receiving end now. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
whew, there we go. All
Yeah,
right. So we got that.
we got that.
All right. And now, do we want to go into
That's you. It's on you.
signs and
Signs and
symptoms? Okay.
symptoms.
We're just gonna jump right into that. All right.
So
Okay.
sip my tea here while you do
Sip your tea. Okay. Whew. So I have a lot. I found a lot. I did my homework.
that. I'm sure.
I never not find a lot of
I
information.
know.
And um, it just yeah. It's kind of crazy because then you start looking and you're writing down some of these like risk factors and some of these signs and symptoms, and then I start going back and I'm like, well, yeah, I used to think that way, or I used to be that way, and it's like, Um, so some risk factors of someone contemplating suicide. Having a mental illness such as depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, especially if they're untreated. Having a substance use disorder,
Mm-hmm.
uh, stressful life situations, childhood trauma or abuse, past suicide attempts, family history of suicide. Um, those are all risk factors. Less obvious signs, which I thought was pretty interesting. Um, any unusual changes in behavior,
Mm-hmm.
changes in sleeping patterns, accessing lethal means
Mm-hmm.
by I've just bought a gun or stockpiling pills,
Absolutely.
um, emotional distance, and physical pain, just to name a few. Um, uh, Phew, signs and symptoms of just contemplation. Wow. I was going through these and I was like, oof,
Yeah.
this is a lot.
And you
Um,
named the top two. The top two contributing factors are depression and substance abuse.
yep,
So those are definitely your top two.
yep. Um, so signs and symptoms of contemplating suicide, making a plan or researching ways to die, withdrawing from friends, saying goodbye, giving away important items, um, taking dangerous risks such as driving extremely fast,
Mm-hmm.
displaying extreme mood swings, using drugs or alcohol more often, Oh, hi,
Hey,
Bryson.
Bryson.
We love you,
Tea
Bryson.
lights. We're tea
He
lights.
lights. I love it. Um, Disinterest in maintaining personal hygiene or appearance.
Oh,
That
that's
one
that
is
that's a good one.
that's a really good one.
Mhm. And you
Um,
mentioned changing changes in sleeping habits,
yeah.
eating as well.
Oh, yeah, that was on there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Uh, Talking about wanting to die, guilt, shame, being a burden to others. Um, just all of these things. And what I find interesting is, and this is what I tell people, you may have that one friend in your life or that one person in your life who's always like that friend, the happy friend, the one you can talk to, the one who's always listening, the one who's always there with a smile on their face. And something I found out from personal experience, uh, you know, you're that friend, and the minute you have a change in your behavior, like all of a sudden,
Mhm.
you're not the happy-go-lucky friend, first thing people say is, why are you being such a you know what, instead
Mhm.
of, is everything okay, what
Exactly.
is something going on.
Exactly.
And I'm like, guys,
Typically, the happy friend is entertainment.
right. And
So
when the
once
happy
people are
friend's
not
not
being
happy,
entertained, it's a
right.
problem.
Yeah. And so I tell people, I said, you shouldn't get upset with them. You should be like, hey, is everything okay? Because this is not like you,
Mhm.
and most of the time that person's gonna, if they're asked and they're in that bad of a spot,
Mhm.
they may talk,
Yeah.
I mean, and they might say, no, 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 it's fine, whatever, brush it off. But the fact that someone would just ask makes a huge difference, instead of just assuming, ugh, why are you being like
Mhm.
whatever, so definitely watch out for that, y'all. That's a big thing, the definite change in behavior, I think, and definitely the hygiene too, you know
Mhm.
um
Yeah, if you see somebody they always dress nice, they always have on the
mhm.
latest everything, and all of a sudden they look like a bum every time.
Right,
You go somewhere, they're not doing what they're doing, not getting a haircut, not doing their hair. She
right,
always wears makeup. She has on no makeup, and that
right,
might, not by itself, but
right,
combination of all of those
yeah,
things. Not cleaning your shoes.
yeah,
You don't smell fresh. You're
right,
not brushing your teeth.
mhm,
These are things that less obvious, but way obvious when you're
right,
in close encounters with somebody. What is that?
right, right,
Yeah,
exactly, especially
yeah.
if you're seeing it on a more consistent basis, like,
Hmm.
everyone's entitled to have their sweatpants day. Like, I don't feel like doing anything but wear my sweatpants and my
Yeah,
hoodie, but
we like
we like those days.
sweatpants.
But, like, when it
Sweatpants,
becomes a more
especially gray ones. I'm sorry. Um,
that's a different show, different
Different show.
topic.
Hey, Bryson. See you pop in and yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Did you
um,
mention on that list was self-harm mentioned?
yes, that was on there. That was,
And that's an
on that,
interesting
self-harm.
interesting topic because the majority of people who report um, self-harming, they will tell you they're not suicidal. It's a distraction.
Yes,
The pain is a distraction of what's going on. But that doesn't mean they've never had suicidal thoughts. But it's
right,
it's almost as if they do that to not do that. Does
right.
that make sense?
What else I found interesting, when I was in the behavioral health hospitals, the partial
Hmm.
inpatient for my eating disorder, self-harm was a comorbidity with eating disorder.
Hmm.
Some of these girls had the eating disorder and would self-harm. And now it's like, putting two and two together, and it's just, you start digging more and more, and you learn more and more, and it's like, wow, okay,
Yeah.
now it starts to make sense. And
Hmm.
there's also suicidal ideation.
Hmm.
And this one kind of jarred me a bit because eating disorders on there.
Mm-hmm.
Eating disorders on there.
It's a form of self-harm.
Yeah, anxiety disorders, PTSD, depressive disorders, bipolar, body dysmorphic disorder,
Mm,
personality disorder. So, okay, there's a schizoaffective disorder and then schizophrenia.
yeah.
I didn't know that there was two different kinds, and so I looked it up. So, schizoaffective is when you're detached from reality and it affects your mood. And schizophrenia is when you hear voices that are not real or see things that don't
Mm-hmm.
exist. And I thought that was really interesting because I'd never heard of that before. So, and then of course, substance use
Yeah.
disorders.
I
Substance
think
use is like on all playing fields when it
because
comes to.
it changes the chemistry in your brain. You
Hmm.
know, it changes those.
Yeah.
It's giving you ideas. You know, just like alcohol is technically a depressant. You
Hmm.
know, some of these drugs can be uppers or downers,
Right.
and if you're taking things together
Right.
and dealing with depression at the same time, you never
That's,
know what mood you're in, and
that's
most
like
of
a
the
perfect
time,
storm.
it's yeah. There you go. That's a good way to put it. I think
Hmm.
the most interesting warning sign I saw was making funeral arrangements, which
Mm,
was different than, you know, just talking about death or risky behavior. Actually making funeral arrangements. Who do you know our age? You know, that's done that. So I think
yeah.
that would stand out, you know, to find out that somebody my age who wasn't ill,
Right.
you know,
Right.
because I know that can play a factor in it, but wasn't ill and didn't just have a whole bunch of money, to find out that somebody our age was making funeral arrangements.
That
Would
was another
definitely
thing
be
on
a red
there
flag.
that was on there, making a will.
And give that goes along with giving things away. Yeah.
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah. You
So,
know, there's a part where this is responsible and this is questionable.
right. Right. Yeah. Agreed.
Because I know people my age who have made a will.
Yeah.
They have things and they want property and uh you know, things transferred over, and they wanted to say who was going to get it, but
Hmm.
not funeral arrangements.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Unless, I mean, if they're terminally ill, then I get that. But if it's just, that's a big red flag. A
Mm-hmm.
big red flag.
It is.
So, um, but yeah, that was my homework, my research. That was, um, you know, majority of what I found. I mean, the lists aren't super extensive and they all kind of say the same
Hmm.
thing.
Yeah,
So,
most of them. Yeah.
yeah. Um, that's my signs and symptoms and
Okay. Okay.
risk factors.
Well, I got a bunch of boring statistics.
Can't
But
be
some of
boring.
them are very eye opening. So
Mm,
maybe they're not quite as boring as you think they are.
right.
In Illinois, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death. When I started this work in 2014, it was 11, which means it's moving up,
It's moving up.
going in the wrong direction. And
Yep.
I say this every time I say it, you know,
Yeah.
it's not going in the right direction.
No.
For ages 10 to 14, suicide is the second leading cause of death. How many of you have a 10 to 14-year-old in the house?
I do.
Second leading cause of death. So these are, you know, the majority of the kids that we mentor in our after school program are 10 to 14.
Hmm.
Ages 15 to 20, it's the third leading cause of death.
I got one of those too.
Anybody got a 15 to 20-year-old in the house?
Mm,
You know, these are that right before 21, you know,
yeah.
kind of an adult, but not quite an adult.
Hmm.
Lots of pressure, lots of planning, lots of future anxiety. That's
Yeah.
that age group. Ages 35 to 44, it is the fourth leading cause of death. Who's 35 to 44? Yeah.
So far, I've hit every one of those that you've said. They all
Yeah.
apply.
And we don't talk about this. We especially don't talk about it in the minority community, African American or Hispanic. Um, and they're less likely to seek out treatment.
Right.
There's still such a huge stigma around getting mental health support, therapy, counseling, medication, that we're still dealing with these vast numbers. These numbers may have gone up in the last 2 years. There isn't a lot of updating because of COVID, because of the pandemic. There hasn't been a lot of updating. A lot of the statistics you'll find are still from 2019 and beginning of
Mhm.
2020.
Yeah.
Um, but we know that there has been, and I believe the last number I saw, it was like 25 to 30% increase in
I
suicides
believe that.
since the pandemic.
Well, and we
That's
need
a
more
lot.
resources. We need more this is the thing. We need more resources. We need it to be more affordable, like free.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure people are out there wanting the help, but they can't afford to get the help. And
Hmm.
that's the sad part. And
And if you're stigmatized about even getting it,
yeah,
you're not even going to do that research to find out what's free.
right.
Um, One thing I wanted to read, the top 10 things the American Foundation where's my mug? American Foundation of Suicide Prevention has learned about. These are the top 10 things they've learned. And this was where I first started my work with this organization as a field advocate, going to events, learning, um, volunteering at the walk. They do a walk every year. They do it
Mhm.
out of the darkness walk. We just had in September.
Mhm.
Um, they do an overnight walk. They do pop up events throughout the city. If you're doing anything related to suicide prevention, they'll send a representative, a volunteer out to man that table to provide resources, to
Mm.
give out information. If you need a speaker, there's a chapter in almost every state. So this is some of the work they do. When there's legislation going on, we have to write to the senator, write to
Right.
the council people and send that information. They go to Springfield once a year to advocate for more resources. So they do a lot of work in our communities, and the Illinois chapter is always on point. Um, Top 10 things American Foundation for Suicide Prevention learned from research about suicide prevention. All right. Number one, suicide is related to brain functions that affect decision making and behavioral control, making it difficult for people to find positive solutions. So it's related to brain functions.
Mhm.
Number two, limiting a person's access to methods of killing themselves dramatically decreases suicide rates in communities. You talked about um, people finding guns. If
Mhm.
you don't have access
Right.
to a gun, that's not an option for you. If you don't have access to auntie's medication in the
Right.
cabinet, then you don't, that's not an
Mhm.
option for you. The majority of suicide attempts are made by uh, female attempts. And most of the time it's through medication or some other means.
Mm.
Um, Male attempts, most likely firearm. So that tells me that somebody has access to that. I've never had access to a weapon
No, me either.
or somebody's medication. So those are two things that would never
Right.
have been options. Number three, 90% of people who die by suicide have an underlying and potentially treatable mental health condition. We said that the top two contributing factors was depression and substance use.
Mhm.
Number four, depression, bipolar disorder, and substance abuse are strongly linked to suicidal thinking and behavior. They already told you it's related to brain functions that affect decision making, so that makes sense. 5, specific treatments used by mental health professions, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, my most recent certification,
Okay,
um,
so now
and,
we're at 1,500.
and dialectical behavior therapy, have been proven to help people manage their suicidal ideation or behavior. So these are tools that are in place, specific treatments by mental health professionals. Number 6, no one takes their life for a single reason. Life stresses combined with known risk factors such as childhood trauma, substance use, or even chronic physical pain can all contribute to someone taking their life. It's never one thing.
Right.
It's never one thing. It's always a combination of something. Number 7, asking someone directly if they're thinking about suicide won't put the idea in their head.
Right.
Most will be relieved that someone starts a conversation.
Hmm.
And that's part of the QPR Institute. Question, persuade, refer. First question is, are we talking about suicide? Are you thinking
Hmm.
about taking your life? Are we talking about you ending your life? What is it that we're talking about? Being really specific and not being scared to use that word
Right.
at all. Not
Yeah.
being scared to use the word. Is this what we're talking about? And they will set up straight,
Hmm.
because they know you're listening.
Right.
Somebody's paying attention. She noticed something. This is somebody I can share with. This is a safe space.
Hmm.
Okay. Number 8, certain medications used to treat depression or stabilize mood have been proven to help people reduce suicidal thoughts and behavior. Right.
Hmm.
So what were we talking about? The first top two contributing factors, depression was one of them.
Depression.
So
Hmm.
we can treat depression, we can help stabilize moods. We can help stabilize moods, we can help reduce suicidal thoughts and behaviors.
Do you know that when I was in treatment, I refused the medication?
Hmm.
The psychiatrist wanted to put me on antidepressants, and I refused because I didn't want to have the side effects that go along with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, I need a more natural way to deal with this. Um, and they kept pushing it. They're like, you need to be honest that I didn't want to do that because I didn't want the side effects. And then those side effects causing more issues. You know what I'm saying?
There are
Especially being
and there's
married.
natural treatments. There are
Yeah.
other options for people, um,
Yeah.
but seeking out treatment is the
Seeking
biggest
out
thing.
treatment was a big one.
Some kind of treatment.
Yeah.
All treatments don't work for everybody,
Right.
but there is a vast variety of options for people to find what works for them, right?
Hmm.
Number 9, if someone can get through the intense and short moment of active suicidal crisis, chances are they will not die by suicide.
That's true.
Getting through that moment, knowing that it will pass. And we talk all the time about people needing to see hope, needing to know that hope is on the other side of this, which means there's another side. You can get to that other side.
So can I be fully transparent? I know I'm using Vic's words, fully transparent. Um, that's absolutely true what you just said because I can personally tell you I've been there. I've been there many, many, many times. I've been there at one point, like I think it was probably in the last year or so. At one point, it was happening every month that I was in that dark place of just, how you get, the tug of war in your mind, and you got like the angel and the devil. No, you're a good person. No, don't listen. You're terrible. The world would be better without you. I literally went through that on a monthly basis for almost a year.
Hmm.
And um, even going to see my therapist at some points wasn't doing anything for
Hmm.
me. Um, but at the end of the day, what I ended up doing, like I would just like sit there, and my therapist said, it's okay to lean into it. It's okay to lean into it and stay there for a minute, but don't live there. Right. And my saving grace was I thought about my girls. I thought about my girls, and I'm like, how are they going to explain this to their friends? How are they going to live their lives? What kind of example would that set for them? So my girls were always, anytime I was in that moment, that dark moment, it was like I got to think about my girls, and that would always bring me back. So
Mm,
every time, and I, knock on wood, I haven't been in that dark place for a while. But when I
mm,
feel myself drifting, that's how I pull myself back. Like, okay, my girls, I gotta be here for them,
yeah.
and so that, and that's the thing. Like, what would it be otherwise?
Hmm.
I don't know, and I
Yeah.
don't want to think about that, obviously, but that's where my mind would go to my girls, like,
And that's what what works for you. Bryson asked the
yeah,
question, how do you get past it and be certain that it won't occur again? um, Nobody is certain that it won't occur again.
right, right,
But getting past it for Chrissy is thinking about her girls.
yeah,
For someone else, it might be thinking about their spouse
hmm,
or their family, other family members. How will what would happen to their children? For other people, it's remembering that whatever the thing is, that is so painful for you, finding a way to deal with that thing. So if it's chronic illness, then managing your pain, and mindfulness and meditation and whatever might be something that has to go as part of your treatment plan. If it's medication, then it's being diligent about taking your medication every day, same time, as often as the therapist has issued it, and not skipping a day.
hmm,
If it's fitness, if it's working out, if it's changing your diet, it can be a lot of things
hmm,
that can trigger those emotions. It could be removing yourself from stressful situations.
hmm,
It could be finding a way to manage that better. If it's always a trigger for you to be at that job, that's a job you don't need to be
yeah,
at.
exactly,
I walked out of a job at lunch one day. um,
yeah, yeah, bye.
Ask me about that later. Ask me about
Yeah,
that later. I left at lunch and they saw me the next week. But there's some things that we do have control over, and then there are other things that we have to get help to get under control.
mhm,
But the first step is recognizing those feelings. Okay.
right,
Understanding, okay, this is a part of me. This is something that I have to figure out how to
yep,
manage. And what works best for you, it's not going to be the same for everybody.
right,
I couldn't use Chrissy's example because I have no girls here.
hmm,
Maybe it's my students. If I don't show up for my students, for some people that don't teach, that ain't it. So
right,
what is it?
right,
I'm not leaving I should not be leaving here before my mother leaves here.
right,
She should not have to bury her child, another one. So that might be, it for me, but it would be something different for everybody. What is
hmm,
it? What is it that gives you hope?
right,
What is it that lights you up? What is it that you're passionate about? What is it that keeps you going in those moments of absolute pain and stress
hmm,
and turmoil and annoyance?
right,
What is it? And identifying that and figuring out how to manage the emotions around that. We
right,
can't ignore our emotions.
right,
How do we better manage them so that we have more control over that?
hmm,
The last one, and that this is a great ending, and then we can bring in our special guest. The
perfect.
last one here, number 10. Most people who survive a suicide attempt, 85 to 95%, go on to engage in life. 85 to 95% of people who survive a suicide attempt go on to engage in life. That's a
Wow,
high number.
wow,
That
that
is a
is,
high number. When you're looking at the pain, that's all you can see.
hmm,
You can get past the pain, you can get to another day. And every day it's going to be about getting to another day.
yep, wow,
All
a high
right.
number.
We
Ooh,
have a
well,
special guest for
mm,
you.
do.
great
We
segue.
Angel, I'm gonna let you introduce her because she's a part of the pageant world that you are totally involved and
She
familiar with.
is. She was a former ambassador for a suicide prevention organization we worked with, but she is now the Miss Roti International Ambassador. She was crowned last year in August, and the Miss Anna Gomez is here with us to tell
Hey,
us
hello. She got
something
her crown
about
and sash. I love
she
it.
better,
I
she
love
better.
I
it.
Hey,
had to.
beautiful.
She was my coach. If I didn't show up
uh,
like this, I know I will hear
I would have
something
been on the
wrong.
phone like, where is your crown?
Yes. Well,
Welcome, Anna.
thank you so much for the invitation, Angel. Nice to meet you, Crazy.
you too. I feel like I should be looking under the
I
banner so
know,
you can.
right?
Oh wait, okay. I'll do
No,
this.
I see you.
No,
I'm
it's
just
just the
looking at the
bar.
banner on there. No, no, God.
Don't do that. Don't do
Don't do that. I don't need to be live in living color.
that. Awesome.
It's just so funny because the way it is, it's like, hey.
I
Oh
know.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the reflection.
Well,
Oh,
tell
good,
us
good.
about what you're doing right now in suicide prevention.
I'm actually working with American for Suicide Prevention Indiana chapter here in Indiana. I'm from Indiana. And you were talking some of the points that like we've been busy, very, very busy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to share that throughout what our chapter is doing here in Indiana, we were able to get Indianapolis mayor to actually officiate like September month for suicide prevention here in Indiana.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
So
wow.
like from this year was like the first year that it
Wow.
got like officially like September is for suicide prevention. And we were able, what was it, since last year, able to get plates, Indiana plates.
I saw.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
saw the plates.
nice.
I'm waiting on Illinois.
Yeah,
Right?
so we were able to get the Indiana plates, so now like people can go and like show support and some at the same time donate to the American for Suicide Prevention. And we're also like the text message like 911. They did 988.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we're trying to get funding to make sure that it stays as 911 for
Mm-hmm.
like for help. It will have all the resources anybody will need if they're dealing with a crisis. They can just call it or text it, and they'll be able to get somebody on the other line to be able to help out. So it's one of the three things that I'm really happy that we've been like dealing with and are still working towards having more what is it, like people being able to support and show it, especially one of the things I was like listening to you guys is like the how much resources we need and for people to be out there, especially like for me in my Latino community. They don't talk about it. You never
Right.
really ever
Right.
mention, like the only time you ever mention mental health is like if they think you're actually crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That shouldn't be. I'm still, that's one of my like main goals has been to be very spoken about my story. I am a 5 attempt suicide survivor, and being Latina is something that they don't hear somebody speaking out loud and saying, you know, i I was there, I'm not, I've
Mm-hmm.
survived it. By being able to coach other people into how they can overcome it has been really hard. But one of the things that I've realized is that, like, the more that I speak about it, the more people will come forward, the more that they will say, how can I get help? Where can I get help? What are the resources out there that will be to me?
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the best things that I've done. And honestly, I could not have done it if it wasn't to Angel and
Hmm.
Sherry Gearhart. When I met them on the previous organization, they really helped me out being able to put into words my story and not to be afraid to speak out.
Awesome. And that's what awareness is about. The more people talk about it, the more people share their stories. And the
Yeah.
more they share their stories, the more we could talk about
Right.
resources and actually find ways to help people.
Because they don't feel alone.
Exactly. And what's
Because
our show? What's our show theme tonight?
you are not alone. You're not
Excellent.
Yeah.
Bryson asked a question. I would love for Anna to answer this question. She asks, how do you get past it and be certain that it won't occur again? You said you were a 5-time attempt
Suicide.
survivor. Talk to us about how you get past it.
Well, for the longest time, I just didn't know what was wrong with me. Like I could relate to a lot what you were. I'm sorry, what you guys were talking about, because I was that cheerful person. Like anybody who has known me since I was in school knows that I was always the person to go to. I was always a person who was happy, who will like give them support, always there for them. But like that wasn't my reality. Like my reality was like getting home and not being okay with myself. Like that's where I couldn't control it. Like my mind will go into like uh you're a burden to your mom, like you're a burden to your family, like why are you here? Those were my thoughts. And for the longest, every time I tried to attempt like and not being able to go through it will push me back further, because
Mm,
I will thought that I wasn't like ready to do it. I'm like, okay, what is wrong with you? Why can't you just do this one thing? Like this one thing. Why can't you be good at this?
mm,
So like it took a long time to seek help. I was in college when I finally like they start having therapy available for us. And that, I don't know, it was just one day I was just like, I need to talk to somebody to see what's wrong with me, because I can't figure it out. There's obviously something wrong. I don't know how. My emotions are not stable. I can't be by myself, because if I'm by myself, I'm thinking like the worst things ever.
mhm,
So I start talking to her, and I start seeing like the reflection of like everything that I went through, all the traumas where they were affecting me. I mean, I lost my dad when I was 5. I was child molested from 6 to 12, and I shot all those emotions down. And now they were coming up as depression, they were coming up as anxiety, they were coming up in a way that I couldn't deal with because I didn't know what that was. So
mhm,
being able to start like self-reflecting, being able to acknowledge like those emotions, start helping me out to overcome suicide, to overcome depression. And it took a long time, because like there were days that I was good, and there were days I woke up and my mind was just not working. And I was actually diagnosed like with chronic depression, because I've had it for the
mm,
longest time, that my mind was just not cooperating. And I did the same thing as you, Chrissy. I didn't want to always depend on medication to be okay.
mhm,
And I said, I want to do something completely different. I want to be able to stand strong on my own. And what does that take? So I started getting involved in activities at church. I started getting involved activities that I like painting, going for what is it, wine and canvas. So
mhm,
that, something
mhm,
like fun and
Yeah.
uh, at the same time creative, that will make my mind think. I will start attending like concert events. I will start like hanging out more with my friends. So giving that space and time is what helped me. I will never say that there is like that you're fully will never get back into that, because I mean life gets to us, At
mhm,
some point, um, we break, and I learned now that it's okay to say today I'm not okay,
Yeah.
mhm,
and today I need to take a day for me
Mhm.
and think of and get back with me. Like that might just be going to the spa, or just like praying, or just centering myself back to me.
mhm.
And on
It's a
those
lot of
dark days,
Yeah.
self-care.
And
yeah.
and that's the thing that I tell people, because, I always just say, "Oh, I struggle with anxiety and depression," but I've kind of changed the script on that and say, "I don't struggle, I coexist." I
Mm,
coexist with my anxiety and depression, and I'm maintaining. You know what
mm,
I mean? Because I think if you flip how you approach it, because struggling has just become such a, like, I don't know, it's almost putting like a negative connotation to it, but it's like I'm not really struggling, I'm just coexisting because it's never going to go away. You
Hmm.
know, it's never going to be 100% gone. You know, just like you're saying, and it's always going to be part of you, but
You
it is
manage
how
it.
you handle it and what tools you use to get through those moments. And like you said, self-care, go to the spa, praying, doing what you need to do, recognizing what Angel was saying, recognizing what
Right.
helps you come out of those moments, you know. So
And you mentioned something, Anna, you mentioned something very, very critical that I don't think a lot of people really place enough weight onto it. You talked about spending more time with your friends, spending more time with people. And, the quote says, we don't heal in isolation, we heal in community. And
mhm,
that community is so important, whether it's friends or family or, your loved ones. Isolating ourselves brings more attention to the issue that
right.
it is that you're trying to get past, get through, get around, get
Mhm,
over. When you're building relationships and when you are investing into those other relationships with people, you get the opportunity to receive. You get the opportunity, to engage and feel more alive, so to speak.
mhm,
And it's so important that you learn that lesson. That this is not the time for me to be by myself. This is
right.
not the time for me to sit at home and drink. This is not the time for me to feel sorry for myself or cry my eyes out. This is the time I need to be with people, people
Mhm,
who care about me, people who love me, people who are concerned about my healing and want to help, right?
Mm-hmm.
They
mhm.
want to help. They want to
Yep,
be of help.
exactly.
This is so that is so critical. Thank you for mentioning
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, one of the things that I will do add is like creating, like you say, those safe circles. You talk about that
Yes.
earlier, and this helps with that. Like for me, being open about what I was going through with my mom, like telling her for the longest time, I thought I was a burden to you.
Mm.
Like just being honest and open helped me create a better circle of like being vulnerable to her. And
Mhm,
the
Mhm.
same thing happened with my friends. So whoever is watching here, you being able to let yourself have those safe circles where you can express yourself fully, where you know you're not going to be judged, so fundamental when
so
you're
important.
dealing with this with depression, with anxiety,
So
with
important. Not be
And
judged.
and don't be surprised if that circle is like this big. It
Yeah.
ends up becoming a very small circle.
Small.
Honestly, you
And it
find
might
out
change.
and it might
It might
change, it might
change.
evolve, but yes, you do
yeah.
find that your circle gets smaller because it's you find out who your I don't want to say you find out who your friends are, but you kind of find out who your friends are, who your community
Right.
is when you're at your lowest point.
Thank you, Bryce. And she just
Yeah.
told you it can be small.
Yeah.
You don't have to have all that bandwidth. You just
Right.
need two or more gathered. Hey.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know that.
I
Yeah.
have like honestly, like my longest friendship has been like 12 plus years with one of my best friends. And she's like my to go person. I always tell her every time I know I'm feeling down, like it's like we connect each other because she'll know, she'll get the
Yeah.
hey, how are you? And she'll be like, you want to come over?
Yeah.
She automatically. So, yes, it
Excellent.
doesn't
Yeah.
have to be big. It's just
Right.
somebody who you can be yourself.
Right.
Yeah. Oh
And
my
see,
God.
and I think that is now I don't know about you, Anna. How easy was it? Because you said you're very much like how I was, like the very happy-go-lucky friend that didn't want to be a burden to anybody because it's like you're always the person who's listening. Even though you may have issues, it's like, well, I don't want to bug you with my problems because you have your own problems.
Yeah.
And I know it for me it took a long time to find people where it's like all right, now we can talk like a two-way street. It's instead of just I'll listen to you, but don't worry about me. I'll figure it out.
Mm.
How was that for you?
Honestly, to me, it was actually through a church retreat.
Mhm.
Like they made us have they did this little assignment where it was you had three questions. Um you could talk whatever you want. You could talk about something you were dealing with like at the time, or if you needed, the third one was like if you needed something to be prayed for. So you have 15 minutes where the other person will not speak or say anything. You will just talk.
Okay.
And then it was like a vice versa role. So like in that retreat, to me, it was like the opening of like being able to say, I've dealt with all of this for the longest, and I've never say it out loud.
Mm.
So that was like my first time. And then the second time, like it's like when I start having the courage happen on another retreat, and at that time I was serving that retreat. So like you had to add part of your like testimony to encourage others, and this one was for young adults. So for me, I had a lot of those friends who saw me through school, who saw me like the happy girl, being there and hearing the other side of things. And the first thing that they say is like, we never saw you like this.
Right.
You were always our strong friend. And like you said, it's just being that, like being able to not deal with your own emotions, shutting it down, putting somebody else first.
Right.
Is like the thing to go to for us.
Right. Right.
And that's one of the things, the first key that it had to be taken back. Like, wait a second. Okay, it's good that you're putting other people first.
Right.
But what about you?
Right.
What about you?
Exactly.
Like, what about you? Like, you also need to take care of it.
Well, I have one last question for you, Anna. What is it that gives you hope in those moments when you have to get past that pain and that feeling and that trigger? What is it that gives you hope?
My dad. Like, when he passed away, I always wonder why. 3 years after he passed away, we moved here to the United States, and I found out I had TB. And if I didn't had arrived when I did, I wouldn't be here.
Wow.
So like after like dealing with everything and realizing something, you're just thinking that like my dad's life meant something, and it's that I get to live mine.
Wow.
Final words for our audience.
Yeah.
What would you like the audience to know about suicide and suicide prevention?
That it's okay to say I'm not okay. That you are definitely not alone as you think you may be. That you can always reach out. You may feel like we're strangers to you, but sometimes talking to a stranger is the best thing you could do.
100%. I agree with that. 1,000%.
I like, you can always message me. I always say it's open 24/7. So
unless we're doing self-care.
Yes. learning to love yourself first, to respect yourself, your time, who you are as a person. It takes time. Don't give up. It's a journey, and I would say you're always learning throughout it. So don't give up on the first try. Know that you are loved, that you are enough, and that you do matter.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Thank you, Anna, so much for coming onto the show and sharing your story, your everything. So
thank you so
you're
much.
incredible.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you for the accepting my invitation. You continue to make me proud, and I always learn something else about you I didn't know. I love you so much.
Love you too, Angel. Thank you so much for always keeping me in mind, even though we're a state away. But always connected in social media.
Yeah, always. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful
Anna.
night.
You have a good night
too.
Night.
Bye.
Wow.
Wow. I always learn something new about her. I've known Anna since 2014.
Oh, wow.
I always learn something new about her.
Wow.
Amazing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Like,
Well, I
how do
think
we
that's
follow that? How do we follow that?
we wrap up this show. Resources. Let's talk
Oh,
about resources.
resources. Oh, okay.
We've been talking about the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention all night.
Yes.
Let me bring it back up. Bring my mug back up.
Your plug.
American Foundation for Suicide Prevention is one resource. I am rocking the shirt for the
Yes.
Reach Project. Speak up, speak out, speak life. Um, the Reach Project, founded by Michelle Monet Henderson, who produces the My Last Party stage play for suicide prevention,
I watched that.
in
I
which
watched
I
that.
was fortunate to be in the
Yes.
cast, leading role there.
It's a great
That's
show.
another resource. Thank you for watching. NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Health, is excellent. No Stigmas organization, mental health and suicide prevention, excellent. If you are looking to learn a whole lot of stuff and get a whole lot of certifications, the Jason Foundation is where you need to be looking. And they have information about, especially for educators. Bryson, hey, Bryson, get on the Jason Foundation. If you are an educator or you work with young people or have young people in your house, there's a lot of information and resources as well as certifications in suicide prevention, in mental illness, in self-harm, in anything dealing with the LBGT, I never remember the letters, that community. But there's so many.
LGBTQIA
Thank you.
plus.
Oh my God, it's longer. Okay,
Yeah.
so there's more information on the Jason Foundation's website that will help you. Especially specifically dealing with youth. That is a great
Yes.
place to start. So
Yes.
those are some resources that you might want to check out. Yeah, I know you heard me. Uh,
Bryson, she's not asking, she's telling.
the Jason Foundation.
Jason Foundation.
Log in, create an account, and start doing something. that's, that's my request for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to intervene there.
I don't know if it's
Send
a
you the link
request.
so you can log in.
Yeah.
You have any resources?
Shoot, I think you named them all. Like, honestly, I know. I know we were talking about different media, things.
Oh, our watch list. Go ahead.
The watch list. So, A Million Little Things. I mean,
TV series. What channel?
oh shoot, I watch it
I
on
forget.
NBC.
Look it up.
NBC or ABC. It's one of those two.
One of them. It's one of them.
Just
A Million Little Things.
If you haven't been watching it, just do it.
God.
It's on Hulu.
The show starts with a group of friends.
Yes.
And suicide.
Yes.
And the after effects.
Yes.
Are amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
And this is a cast of men.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. You wanna go find where the camera.
A million little things. We think we did that together.
Go look that up. Yes.
I really don't think we need to name any other watch list. A Million Little Things. Trust us.
Well, we got more. We do have more though.
I thought of, for whatever reason, when we start thinking watch lists, I go back to like the 90s for some reason. I think that's where all the movies that I really enjoyed ended up in. Dead Poet Society.
Yes.
Was another really good one.
Which happens to star Robin Williams.
Robin Williams. Oh, that's a whole nother topic for me too. Not only that, it's yes, Robin Williams, but it's a cast of men. Gentlemen.
What's the movie you gonna watch?
Dead Poet Society. And what's the TV series?
A Million
Little Things. Yes, Robin Williams. I mean, I know that's something I've always talked about. That friend that always makes you laugh.
Yes.
And this is where I get emotional. But that friend that always makes you laugh, that always has that personality, is the friend that you almost need to watch out for the most.
I lost that friend.
Same.
Man, boy,
Men.
male,
Yep. Same.
class clown, life of the party, football star,
Yep.
athletic. Everybody knew him.
Yep.
That was the one that took his life.
Yep.
Died by firearm.
Ironically, mine and mine was 4 years ago, a few days ago. Ironically, on the same day that A Million Little Things premiered, and he took his life the same way that the main character of the show did. So it wasn't, men. Guys, you need to know that it's okay to talk, please. It's not, don't feel shamed. You're allowed to feel feelings. You're allowed to cry. You're allowed to.
Oh, that's interesting that you just said that. It's
I'm just saying.
Because my third and final media pick is a documentary, 2018 documentary titled Suicide, The Ripple Effect. It is about Kevin Hines, who attempted suicide on the Golden Gate Bridge. And the first picture I found of him, he's wearing a shirt that says, "It's okay to talk."
So I've just got all the
You
phrases
just said
tonight.
that. It's okay to look up. When I was doing a certification for
1501
mental health, I believe it was mental health first aid for youth. We watched this documentary during our training. And it's about an hour and a half. It's an hour and a half. Suicide, The Ripple Effect, 2018 documentary about Kevin Hines. Who knew that the Golden Gate Bridge was a place that people go to jump to take their lives? Who knew that?
I think the one in New York too, is that the Brooklyn Bridge? The one that goes
I've never heard that about New
one
York,
that goes
but I
into
have
the Hudson,
heard
but
this Golden Gate Bridge. They actually have officers that patrol that area because it
of that.
happens so frequently.
See, I know I was supposed to watch this
documentary.
I had a hard time. Just watching the trailer for this, I had a hard time.
You didn't get past the trailer.
I couldn't get past the trailer because that's how my friend. I mean, that's how my friend took his life. He jumped.
And you know what? And then stop.
And so then I was like,
and that's very fresh for you. You just said 4 years ago.
Yeah.
If you're not ready to watch that, don't force yourself to watch that.
I'll put it on for when I can.
Whenever.
But I will say, going back to that friend who did pass by suicide, he did have a substance use issue. And that was, we talked about that being one of the main factors, right? Between reason 1 and 2.
My friend, it was trauma at home. Some type of domestic violence situation, but it was trauma at home. But this happened my junior year in high school. So it's been a lot of time. I'm a lot more detached from
that
the events.
That event,
because of the time that has passed, and because I've been speaking out about it, and I tell the story everywhere. So it's a little different, much different than losing your friend 4 years ago. So there's absolutely no pressure. There's no rush. You don't have to go out teaching nobody nothing. At the point where you're still healing. You're still healing from this process. I talked to you. I had to keep checking. Let me call her back.
She didn't see right.
Let me call her back.
And then Vic, his best friend also passed by suicide, a boy.
Another male. So we're talking about three males in this circle.
And by a firearm as well.
Yeah.
And his two was a domestic issue. So I mean, guys, Please
Listen up. It's okay to talk
open
about
up
it.
and talk. It's okay to talk. I promise you're not alone. You are not alone. If I have
Absolutely.
to start singing Michael Jackson, I will, but don't make me. I'm fine doing it. I would sound good, but I really don't feel like doing it. Just trust me and talk, please.
Right.
But on that note, our next show, with if all goes according to plan, should be on October 27th, which is the last Thursday in October. And October is ADHD Awareness Month, as well as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So we
And
will
we're
be.
also going to be talking about holiday stress.
Oh, yes.
And how to get past this.
Yes.
How to get through it. How to get through it. I want to leave on a light note though. I just want to ask some questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
We kind of talked about self-care and things like that. So let's talk about what?
Yes, breast cancer awareness.
Yes, thanks so much. What's Bryson? we'll go out on that song. We'll leave that song for the end. Okay, so if you say it's the end, you might get a treat.
I need my karaoke microphone.
Listen, we'll pull up some words. Where the words at?
We don't need the words. I got them right here.
What is your top 3 self-care practices? What's your top 3 right now? Because what you're doing right now might be different than what you were doing, pre-COVID. So what are you doing right now? What are your top 3? And if anybody has some self-care, drop one in the chat. What are you doing for self-care right now?
Hot shower.
Hot showers.
Hot shower or a hot bath or just something where I could just.
Who has time to sit in the bed?
I don't have time to sit in a bath.
I know you don't. Okay. Hot shower.
I would love to.
Bath. Okay.
But a hot shower for sure.
Okay. Where's your mug?
Oh, hi. Hello. Hot tea. Hot tea is always good. Very comforting. And I'll be honest with you, watching my shows that I used to watch when I was younger in the 90s, honestly, like that. Listen, I will sit here and binge watch Family Matters all day and Fresh Prince and all that. I will do all of that. And it just.
I didn't realize that was a coping mechanism.
It is. Like, you know why?
I remember I sent you that post. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Because it takes me back to a time that was a lot less chaotic and just like, it just takes me back to where life was a little more calm and, there's always some kind of memory for me associated with that one of those shows. You know what I mean? So
it's also very helpful if you deal with anxiety because you know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
exactly. You know what's going to happen, so it's familiar for you. Who is this Facebook user?
Oh, and another one, because I have more than 3. Listening to the Hamilton soundtrack. There we go.
Oh my gosh!
And dancing and singing and being pretending I'm in the musical.
Oh Lord! Okay.
And playing all the roles, not just the females.
Bubble baths. So somebody that agrees with Chrissy. Bubble baths. Movie night with my fur babies. What did the babies like to watch? And dancing to my favorite music.
I want to say this is Anna. I don't know why her name don't show up. Bryson says, my personal space and time.
Amen.
Bryson.
Number 1.
I like that third one, Mentali-Tea, because
thank you. My music.
Yes.
I don't know. We always have some stalker.
We always have one. Isn't that so funny? We always have one every episode. It's so weird. So weird.
In Mentality.
What about you?
Self-care. What about me? I'm with Bryson.
Yes.
Space. Yes. Personal space. Everybody, if you know me, you know I love being at home. I love being here. There's so much peace in my house.
And for those who don't know Angel, soon enough there's going to be a Christmas tree behind her. And it's going to be like, that's all she's going to sit in front
November through March.
March.
Turn into a Valentine tree. But I love being at home. Even though it's cold in my house, I don't cut the heat on until November. So I'm gonna get a sweater and just ride it out. But I got another month in a couple of days.
Good luck.
But I love being at home. You know, I change my decor every season. I always drop a videos on Instagram. I always drop the video. Cooking for other people. You know, I think that's part of my self-care. I'm baking for sure. I'm a baker. My counter is covered in bananas right now. So, you know, bread is about to happen. I went and bought 2 more loaf pans so I can, do 3 at the same time. And then I have a sleep routine.
Yeah. Oh yes, her sleep routine.
I have a sleep routine. The lights go off, the room therapy comes on, the music is on. I'm, checking my last little Instagram. It's my Instagram time.
Yeah.
You know, I'm under the cover. Everything matches. Pajamas have to match. Socks have to match. You know, I have a nice sleep routine. Sometimes yoga comes before.
Yeah.
You know, the sleep routine, or I'm watching, Headspace or something. But that's good. That's good.
And Christine said sleep, Audible, Spotify, and TikTok.
TikTok. See, Instagram.
You can get lost in that TikTok rabbit hole. Let me just tell you what. Like, you think you're just gonna watch one video and
we're baking banana bread. Do you like banana bread, Bryson? Would you like to meet me somewhere and pick up a loaf of banana bread? Because there will be plenty available next week.
Oh man.
My good friend Miles called me yesterday to come and pick up some bunches of bananas. I already had one bunch at home. And then the lunch lady handed me 2 batches today.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, everybody gets bread. You get banana bread.
Oprah.
Everybody gets banana bread.
Is there a gluten-free one in the works? No? Okay. Thought I'd ask. Thought I'd ask. Gosh,
You know what? I'm gonna have to look. I still got some of your gluten-free flour.
I'm just saying, you got the flour.
I'm gonna have to check that out. What else can't you have? Is it just the flour?
Just the flour.
Oh.
Anything with wheat in it. That's mainly the flour.
Well, I might be able to help you then.
I mean, you just gotta smash those bananas and throw some stuff in this, whatever.
That is not how we do things.
Listen, I still have your birthday present for crying out loud.
Oh my God,
grief! I gotta get you all that. Anyway,
right. What you hunting? What you hunting about? You gonna meet me and get some banana bread? Awesome. Well, that was a much lighter tone to end.
Yes, and we're ending on banana bread.
We're ending on
banana bread, and don't forget to watch A Million Little Things. There you go. Taking away anything from this is banana bread.
Million Little Things, Dead Poet Society, and banana bread.
And banana bread.
What's happening? This is what's happening. Well,
wow.
We are glad. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, yes,
Thank you for making this show much easier than we thought it might be. My makeup is still intact. There's not a tear that has dropped.
I swear, I was ready. I had my tissue. See?
Just in case. Because if Chrissy started, I might have started. And we have to thank you.
Yeah.
We got past it.
I had to.
Excellent. I wasn't sure about Anna. I had one ready for Anna. Just in case.
And the
song. What is the words to this? What we singing?
You were not alone. I am here with you. Though we're far away, I am here to stay. There you go. You were not alone.
You are not
alone. You are not alone. Not alone. Listen, we're gonna break break it down MJ style. You gotta do it the right way.
Thank you, Anna.
Anna,
Thank
thank
you for
you
joining us. I will
again for
send
joining
you
us.
the YouTube link, and you can, make your snippets and post them on your page for your title.
Yes.
All that.
Oh,
Was
well,
that enough song for you, Bryson? Because I ain't got no more words.
yeah, I got no more. I mean, I do, but then we'd be here for like 6 more minutes because I think that's how long the song is. Okay.
I hope there was enough
So.
words because I need the lyric sheet if we got to do something else.
Anyway, yes, there you go.
Excellent. She's satisfied. I'm satisfied.
That's great.
All right.
Great. Thank you all again for joining us tonight. Again, if you know of anybody needing help, if you yourself are going through some stuff, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Send us a message.
Reach out.
Text the 988 hotline. Talk to somebody. Okay.
741.
Simple one. Don't keep it inside because we want to see you here again next month.
Yes. Okay? It is okay to talk. It is okay to not be okay. And it is okay to talk.
And you are not alone. All right. We love you all. Thank you.
Love you.
See you next month.
Bye.
Bye.